Good afternoon. When you ask South Africans about home, no matter how long they haven't lived in South Africa, the bottom tip of Africa is where their heart belongs. I've been privileged to have grown up in this amazing country, the Rainbow Nation, the land that Nelson Mandela liberated through forgiveness and hope. And with all its imperfections, I've had the greatest privilege to have lived there as a proud Jew and a proud South African. I was born when apartheid was at its peak. I want to tell you about Mary Sabisi, our family housekeeper, my second mother, our family nanny. Mary knew Jewish songs, she prepared Shabbat dinners, and she encouraged us to embrace and be proud of being Jewish. When I think of Mary, I think to her warm hugs, her soothing voice, and her constant protection. I remember being 6 when Mary used to walk me to school daily, her on the road beside me as I owned the sidewalk, us hand in hand. And I remember going back to my mother and saying to her, "This amazing woman is protecting me. She's shielding me from danger." And it was at this point when I learned something remarkably wrong that I just couldn't comprehend. I found out that Mary was walking on the road because she had to, simply because she was black. And as a 6-year-old living in this so-called perfect world, I just couldn't comprehend this, how this could be okay on any level, and also that I could have nothing to do to fix it. For those of you that know, the South African Jewish community is renowned for its warmth and welcoming of Jewish strangers from everywhere, partly because of the many thousands of Lithuanian Jews who made South Africa their home, narrowly escaping the persecution. And even though there were certain Jews that addressed and fought the injustice in their own personal capacities, there just was never the strong, united Jewish voice standing up to the horrors of apartheid. And while we can't understand the risks and the fears involved in it, I've always felt that there was always some kind of blind spot, a clear blind spot. And when we think about who we are as Jews, we are always about standing up for what is right. And it is at times like these that we would want to be involved and really stand up, be part of the table, plug into the discourse, contribute, stand up, and maybe even learn from those situations where it didn't work out in the past exactly how we wanted it to be. When our beloved Mary passed away, my sister and I spent time with her family reflecting on her amazing life just before her funeral. And what was the most remarkable thing, or the most scary, ironic thing for us, is that her family kept thanking us for all that we had done for her, and not the other way around, and in turn for them. And it was only when I was older that I got to realize how much other people had sacrificed and lost for this incredible woman to be in our lives and have the impact that she did. And really got me thinking about how we can change things, because apartheid made the unnatural feel normal. It made people's lives so terrible that there was just no way out. And when I think about Mary and other people's stories, I so often think about how the word apartheid, or the apartheid narrative, is used to describe situations and events all around the world, and especially in South Africa, where there's this identification with the downtrodden. And it really pains me, because for us as Jews, we should be able to sit down and talk about the pain of others. But at the same time, we should be able to understand that different situations have different perspectives, and that no matter how terrible human suffering is and the lack of connection, we should be able to stop and step up to the challenge to say, how do we be better? How can we be better? How can we think about a situation for what it is without losing track of its actual complexities and without losing track of the honesty? My grandmother, my beloved grandmother, came out from Europe by ship when she, just narrowly escaping the horrors of what was happening in Germany at the time. She was my personal Jewish hero, very much because when I think back on her family who rejected Judaism wholeheartedly and treated her as a stranger, she was embraced and held and clung to this incredible Jewish community and its warmth, connecting to the traditions and the amazing Jewish values that she held so dear. From my heritage and the history of growing up in South Africa, I constantly think about everything that I've learned is about standing up for what is right. And that's essentially what being Jewish has always been. It's about standing up for what I believe in and standing up for everything that other people might not, even if I have to stand alone. So many South African Jews have immigrated, and for those of us that have chosen to stay behind, there's so much building required ahead. As Mandela so famously said, there is no passion to be found in playing small, for settling for a life that is less than the one that we are capable of living. I'm really proud to be part of a piece of the Jewish community asking how we can, in small ways, no matter how small, build a brighter future for our community, for South Africa and the world. And Mary, through her love, showed us that we need to encourage each other and believe that we are enough, and that the smallest of acts and the smallest of changes can and actually do move things forward, even if we can always do more. And I guess, essentially, that's what being Jewish and being South African, Jewish South African, South African Jew, has always and will always be for me. Thank you.